his opponents. And I think Pelosi is putting on, rather than being all high-minded and responding to Trump with kind of the sort of moral indignation and outrage, she's showing how you can use his own techniques against him. And we'll see whether they follow that.
And Democrats would tell you they believe focusing on health care was issue number one, but issue number two was the president's temperament in the midterm elections. And that's clearly what she's trying to get at. But isn't she also trying to have something to keep her people organized and unified? The speaker's fighting the president, therefore we can't break from the speaker right now, because she's trying to manage a difficult thing in her own caucus, even though she says it is overstated by reporters. I just want to show you some numbers. 35 Democrats have come out to say impeach the president. None of them are in risky districts. These are their districts of those 35 Democrats. Hillary Clinton won their districts by an average of 43 points. Those House Democrats won those districts by 48 points. So I'm not saying they don't believe what they're saying, but there's not a risk back home for the 35 Democrats who have been publicly, daily, if you ask them, saying we should impeach the president. Nancy Pelosi is worried about the smaller number but important number of Democrats who flipped Republican seats to Democratic seats, like these.
I think we need to ascertain more facts, and if those facts lead us to clear evidence of criminal activity and obstruction, then we absolutely should proceed. But we're not there yet.
We've seen a pattern of lack of transparency, dishonesty, and I think that it is our duty to get all the information before us before we make those decisions.
We need to exhaust every single option that's on the table before we actually move towards impeachment.
Voters should be pleased. We're not rushing into judgment here. We're considering our options.
Now, she's trying to keep those people in Congress, number one. And the other Democrats, she thinks, as long as she's fighting the president, they'll be okay for the most part.
Yeah, look, Nancy Pelosi has been a master of holding a diverse caucus together, especially when parts of it turn against her and question her leadership. She's pulled this out before. It's interesting that you're not hearing anybody say absolutely no on impeachment, but let's just take some time and do this. There's a legal argument for doing that, too. A lot of what they're going to do has to go through the courts. You can't just go to the courts as a matter of first resort. It has to be a matter of last resort and shown that you've tried all of these different approaches to get the documents, to get the witnesses that you want from the Trump administration, and they're just stonewalling you. And in order to be able to make that case both to a judge and then to the public, which is even harder, they feel like they have to have run through these traps. The risk is, do they lose the moment politically, or do they kind of fire too early and then just have to explain this for the rest of the political campaign, so up until the 2020 election? So probably the sweet spot is sometime in the fall, but you're going to keep hearing this bickering back and forth, and Trump will try to exploit that as much as he can to either weaken Pelosi or push the pendulum towards impeachment, because it seems like he's calculating that the faster they get there, the more he has to point out that they don't have anything else.
And the president says no to just about every Democratic investigation, but he says yes. He's given his attorney general remarkable new powers. The attorney general, among three Republicans on the cover of the New Yorker, it's a scathing portrait, shall we say, of Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and the attorney general, Bill Barr, shining the president's shoes. But Bill Barr now has been given by the president this remarkable power that the attorney general now has the authority to call any intelligence agency in the United States government, say, give me everything that you used at the beginning of the Russia investigation. The director of national intelligence, Dan Coats, would normally